Hi, everyone. This is Jess from Screen Moguls again, and today's digital session is coming to you about local radio, and we've got Pete from Global, who is going to take us through all things local radio and their digital audio exchange. As always, this session will be recorded, so if anyone misses it, you are welcome to watch it at a later date. And if you have any questions, please do let us know. Put them up in the chat box at the top, and we will ask them at the end. And I will now hand over to Pete.
Hi there. I'll just get the slides up for everyone. So yeah, as Jess introed, my name is Pete Bassett, and I'm the group head of commercial data here at DAX. So my role is kind of all about the day-to-day running of the DAX data team, as well as trying to find ways to make our data work like a little bit harder all the time for our clients. But today I'll be talking to you about how DAX, the digital audio exchange by Global, can be beneficial to you. But before all of that, I'd like to take a moment just to explain why radio, the audio medium, can be such a winner for cinemas. So radio is highly consumable, with 36 million adults listening to commercial radio in a week. Radio is consumed by those people about 20 hours a week as well. We can see that the price for radio grants a really high return upon investment, along with listeners giving adverts a really high percentage of consideration as well. And radio is the companion medium. Listeners to radio report being about 2 times happier, along with radio offering a really high level of engagement, with listeners hearing more of the details of the advert and also being able to increase recall and remember those facts of the advert as well. Radio targets people at the right place and the right time, probably more so than other popular advertising mediums such as paid social and TV. And audio listening is growing. With platforms and content always emerging, it's not hard to see the reason why people are listening more. And you can see there was growth of 40 million listeners between 2017 and 2019. And this is all tied to the growth of digital audio. And it's one of the things that we love most about it. There's an enormous amount of variety of content, meaning there's a place for every single audience. But with that huge growth, this made the landscape very hard to navigate. With a diverse set of services and content, this meant that pre-DAX, buying digital audio campaigns at scale would be incredibly time consuming. So DAX kind of simplifies it all. DAX has over 100 audio publishers, from leading podcasts like How Stuff Works, as well as cinema-based content like A Thin Layer of Film by Heidi Reagan, to SoundCloud, the largest streaming service in the world, which we hold the exclusive ad rights to. And that's kind of why we launched DAX, to give advertisers the ability to reach 15 million listeners with data-driven targeting that can be quantified and measured. So whether our listeners are streaming their favorite radio shows on their smartphone while hitting the treadmill in the morning, or finding some escapism with a popular story-driven podcast on their commutes, or singing along to their favorite movie soundtrack playlist, DAX is there for them. And it's not only the array and size of the listening base DAX can offer. DAX also has an unparalleled data when it comes to understanding the people listening, and we call this audio intelligence. And it has 2 key features, and those are targeting and measurement. I'm going to talk about targeting first. So the breadth and depth of data we have in DAX is unparalleled in the commercial audio space. In total, we have 30,000 audience variables with 5 billion streams per day, with a total of about 15 million listeners. We have a range of brands, content types, listener patterns with DAX within the DAX portfolio, along with insight and audience connectivity on demographics. Alongside a deep understanding of our listeners, we also know the importance of gaining a 360 view of the audience beyond their listening habits. Therefore, we can focus on sourcing the best and most exclusive data from quality publishers and media partners, notably via our partnership with the Nielsen Marketing Cloud, who have a long legacy of consumer and media data. And this gives us an intensive insight on audience, including what they're interested in, as well as what they're in the market for, how to shop and what motivates them. And on top of this, we also weave in data that informs the context that the listener is in at that time, how engaged they are, and what is their need state. So together, this collection of data points gives the most informed view possible of the DAX universe. This isn't just a list of data points, though. We know what to do with all of this to make it both accessible and relevant to advertisers' targeting strategies. So our targeting solutions are streamlined into 4 categories. You have the consumer, the customization, content, and creative. Consumer, and this is everything about who you want to go reach. We have over 150 segments that can be activated in DAX, and these are our always-on segments, pre-built audiences that cover most of the day-to-day uses. Here we have segments like film enthusiasts, film genres such as horror, family, documentary, as well as more seasonal-based data like Christmas moviegoers. We also have premium second-party data. We're partnered with some great resources for film segments. We're able to target any listener who has looked at any movie-related content on our partner sites. These are filtered down into usable segments such as ESI's media lovers and Dennis Media's film fans. And DAX is a proven fan of cinema. They're very likely to be film enthusiasts, and 30% of them are regular ticket buyers. In addition to all our ready-made segments, we can also be flexible with our data, giving more bespoke requirements. So, for example, having a consumer identity, pen portraits and personas, we're able to draw upon all the data points we have to build these Intel DMP specifically for your campaign activations. We can directly onboard your own customer data sets, either from DMP to DMP or via a matching partner like LiveRamp. For example, this can be done by activating your own ticket buying data to encourage revisits. We also have the power modeling capabilities that we're able to make lookalikes or propensity strategies. So, for example, building out a scale of niche audiences or suppressing current customers to find like-minded acquisitioners. So basically, using your current data to target new possible visitors who fall into the same segments as your current visitors. And besides the who, we also understand that context is key for landing a message, and therefore we have a number of environmental activation methods, day and time, weather, location, or the activity the person is doing. And this enables you to plan your delivery around the context that will have the most traction. So target people at lunchtimes who are looking for something to do that evening, or make yourself known on a rainy day when listeners are looking for something fun to do while staying dry and warm. And we also have creative ways of piquing interests. So tell a story through sequential adverts to sort of tell a narrative about a film coming up, or even use sequential adverts to talk about all the new releases in a seamless flow, or use data to mention something relevant to your audience at the time of listening via our dynamic ads. We also have the ability to target listeners through smart speaker enabled ads, or use our 3D audio by creating dynamic audio scenes within the headphones. So for something like the film Ford versus Ferrari, you could paint a cinematic moment in the listener's ears with cars racing from one ear to the other with sort of cheers in the background. And that's all possible for 3D audio. But with all that sort of creative and targeting, we also need to look how it gets measured in the back end. And that's where we come to Listener Insight ID. And Listener Insight ID is our own solution to measure and present all the relevant data to you from your campaign. But why? But why use our own solution? Well, we do that because of three main reasons. One, there is a demand for improvement within the audio industry. There's a reliance on clicks and cookies that we particularly wanted to get away from. And thirdly, there's a square peg and a round hole measurement techniques which just don't work for digital audio. So we created Listener Insight ID, and it's DAX's own tool for measuring the efficiencies of online digital audio. And it works by users being exposed to audio with creative tracking, and the user is assigned a unique listener ID, which is tracked by DAX. And when this visitor then goes to your site, this ID gets captured, and we measure all of those IDs captured against an unexposed group or a control group, if you will, to help monitor the growth of the people who did hear the advert. So basically, making sure that it was DAX that sent these people to your page rather than some unseen force. And this helps us deliver meaningful results. So we can maximize efficiency and hone your adverts by seeing the day and time listeners responded, as well as the frequency of delivery that works best, and also give you creative recommendations on your current campaign. You have the ability to track KPIs through your data on impressions, frequencies, and client site visits, as well as page views and monitoring performance of the different creative sets. And also learn about your audience through demographics and socioeconomic segmentation, interest, purchase intent, category spend percentiles, and even shopper and attitudes and behaviors. And all of these insights get shared with you via DAX's own Listener Insight dashboard, which enables a real-time view of performance, allowing you to track and optimize the activity as a campaign runs. The tool is very clear, easy to use, and even easier to understand. All the data gets captured, fed back, and it's incredibly user-friendly with everything in there being downloadable from the data to the graphs. And the results of Cinema working with DAX are clear. Recently, we worked with Cineworld to help drive interest of their unlimited card. And the plan was focused around 6 weeks of the summer releases. So with each new release, the creative changed slightly to mention the hot release that week, with the key message of the unlimited card remaining embedded underneath. And DAX listeners to the Cineworld site are far more engaged than non-listeners, we found. And along with this, we saw that DAX listeners were 17% more likely to complete the purchase of the Cineworld unlimited card. And in that cinema space, we haven't just worked with Cineworld. DAX has also been used by major exhibitors such as Odeon, as well as studios like Warner Brothers, to independent setups like Secret Cinema. We've also worked with communications and automotive, fitness, insurance, travel brands, retailers, energy companies, along with other charity organizations and governing bodies. Simply put, DAX has been used by 600 plus clients in pretty much every field there is. And with that many clients, we need to be able to offer several different investment levels for all advertising budgets, ranging from fully customizable reporting on multiple creative outputs and post-campaign analysis to crystallize any learnings from after the campaign, to smaller budgets where DAX can add value to your ad investment by giving you full access to the dashboard and reliable reporting on metrics such as impressions and uniques, response rate and response time, the day and time of day of delivery, as well as the time and day that the listeners visited your site. And these metrics help track your campaigns, KPIs, and really see the benefit that DAX brings. And all of that gets underpinned by dedicated support on phone and email from the DAX data team. And that brings me to the end of the presentation. And I'm very happy to take any questions that you may have about DAX or how DAX can benefit the film exhibitor industry.
Pete, I've got a couple of questions. So I think obviously one of the things, you kind of touched on budget and the fact that you guys are available for all budgets. I think that's really key. Obviously, a lot of the cinemas will have been affected quite badly by the shutdown, but obviously local radio is a great way to get the word out that the cinemas are reopening. In terms of creative, how expensive is it to do a radio spot? How can it be done on a budget? How does that work?
For DAX, it's as low as 5K a week. And that is sort of the cheapest to go for regional, which is what we refer to as local.
Yeah.
With that, you guys can come with your own creative, or we can sort of try and set up meetings with the creative team at DAX for you guys to learn and get helped towards forming a campaign, which would really help you.
Okay. Well, don't think we've got any other questions at the moment, which is great. Obviously, if anyone thinks of any questions, please feel free to get in touch and ask. And I think that's everything for the time being. We've got another session next week on local PR, which also will be really important as cinemas come to open. So thank you very much for your time, everyone. And again, this will be available on the Cellular Junkie website if you want to watch this again at a later date.